A warm welcome back to your latest industry developments. In today's proceedings, there's focus on Lufthansa, who are having a bit of a turbulent 2024. United Airlines are expanding their route network, and that is the same for Play Airlines, who have also announced improvements in February. Let's begin with Lufthansa, who are forecasting a shaky 2024 as they continue to battle labour disputes that have resulted in several strikes already. This is ultimately an ongoing problem that you may recall has negatively impacted the airline for several years. Different types of employees across the group are now seeking pay increases. This could be your cabin crew to ground staff. With an as touched on shaky forecast, the Lufthansa Group still reported its third best financial result in the history of the group for 2023, with an operating profit of 2.7 billion euros. Additionally, the group saw revenue increase by 15% to 35.4 billion euros. Passenger numbers was another area that saw improvements. Over 120 million passengers were carried across the last calendar year, which represented a 20% increase. Record deliveries of 20 long-haul jets helped propelled the airline and broader group considerably. While aircraft deliveries were at record levels, the group is still being impacted by ongoing supply chain problems, which means Lufthansa Group Airlines have been unable to complete their growth and transition efforts as initially planned. Take a look at delays in acquiring the 777X, the 787 and/or the A350. It means that for Lufthansa at least, they're having to rely on some of their larger, more inefficient aircraft for the short to medium term until these supply chains and general production/deliveries can stabilize. Looking ahead, Lufthansa says it will report an operating loss in the first quarter of 2024, which is expected to grow larger than initially expected as it does battle several factors which I did briefly touch on. One of the primary concerns has been Lufthansa's persistent battle with labor disputes, that being over pay, which has seen strike action and an operational impact since the beginning of 2024. But if you really want to get down to the specifics, it's been ongoing longer than that. While targets are present for the calendar year broadly, and the group should actually see significant revenue increases, the label difficulties should cause other financial hits and operational impacts. Several other airlines actually reported increases in their expenses during the 2023 calendar year. Why was this? Well, it was as they successfully negotiated and renewed new payment contracts with their employees to avoid further strike action. And there you have it. That's why the expenses increased. Demand is expected to be high, with the group already seeing strong bookings throughout the year, especially during peak periods. Easter and the summer seasons are highlighted as key areas of focus. Additionally, the group says that load factors for the year's first 3 months have been solid and increased from last year. So ultimately the year, it's set to have its ups and downs with predominantly strong points. However, the group will want to try and sort out disputes with its employee base over wages sooner rather than later to prevent further operational impact across the year. On to the next story, and United Airlines has announced 3 new international destinations and 4 new flights as part of its continued effort to expand globally. Ultimately, the several updates means the airline has the largest and most diversified international network among other key US airlines, with well over 100 international destinations across a staggering 67 countries. Through persistent network expansion, the airline has also become the largest in several segments, and it is not even the flag carrier of the specific countries that it does serve, but it is the largest. Notably, its aggressive expansion into Australia, which is my home, has allowed it to overtake Qantas and provide better connectivity from critical cities, and thanks to its expansive network in the US, it provides more adequate onward travel options, and that being smooth ones too. So as for the new routes, from October 24, the airline will launch service between Newark and Marrakesh in Morocco. I apologize if I've mispronounced that. Through this connection, United will have the most flights to destinations in Africa from the metropolitan region of New York, something they're pleased with. They pride themselves on also being the only airline to connect the United States with this city, and they'll do so with a thrice weekly service. An Asian expansion is on the cards, with United set to offer service between Tokyo Narita and Cebu in the Philippines from July 31st. The 737 will serve this route, with the flight expected to benefit Americans looking to venture to the Philippines, with the location available from Tokyo and therefore easily reachable for travelers across the United States and generally the Pacific. Lastly, United says it'll for the first time Medellin in Colombia from Houston, with daily flights again to be also operated by the 737. This service will commence October 27th and will complement existing flights to the region from other cities and those within Houston. While these new flights do steal the show, United says it will beef up its operations worldwide this year, looking to rebuild its mainland China operations. 4 weekly flights from August this year will depart from Los Angeles to Shanghai, resuming but also complementing existing Shanghai flights from San Francisco. United says this service will become daily by the end of October. Meanwhile, United will add further flights to Hong Kong and Seoul. A second daily flight to Hong Kong from Los Angeles will launch in October. Lastly, United will boost transatlantic flying with a second daily service on a Boeing 757 from Newark to Porto in Portugal. On to the final story in today's proceedings at least. Play has published its February 2024 results, while also discussing some new routes that are set to commence as part of a network expansion. Let's take a look at their reports. Play said they carried just over 106,000 passengers across February. This was a 66% increase year over year, and a sign that strategy shifts have benefited during the typically colder months. Load factors also increased year over year, reaching 81% in February, up from the 76.9% 1 year prior. Play says that load factors can be attributed to the reduction of seismic activity in Iceland, alongside media coverage. The airline breaks down some vital travel statistics. 27.9% of passengers flew from Iceland, 40% flew to Iceland, and 32.1% were essentially connecting passengers. North America was an essential focus for the company, where load factors did increase by 11 percentage points. Interestingly, but you could also make the case unsurprisingly, warmer weather locations in Europe, such as Barcelona and Alicante, saw load factors over or around 90%. As for the new routes, they'll look to extend their connections towards Portugal and Morocco from October of this year. They add that the airline's sales have been very positive throughout February, and they actually experienced during the first week of the month a record sales week, with the highest daily revenue in 1 month in Play's history. That's going to conclude today's aviation news. If you have any thoughts, well, you're more than welcome to drop them down below in the comments. Thank you very much for your support. Like I always say here on the channel, it is very greatly appreciated. Take care, do be safe. I'll see you same place, same time tomorrow for your latest industry developments. And we'll fly.